From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. USDA takes drastic steps to try to slow the spread of highly pathogenic avian flu in cattle.
I think it gives us the idea that, it's more prevalent than what we've given it credit for.
As new data suggests the outbreak is more widespread than official reports. A margin squeeze in row crops, and now concerns about consolidation are sprouting.
More than 3/4 of the respondents said yes, we think that will accelerate consolidation in the row crop industry.
The latest from this month's Ag Economist's Monthly Monitor. Farming on the edge of innovation.
Actually, just over here on this 40, I had this wild hare.
He's an Illinois farmer who's a maverick in the field.
U.S. Farm Report, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when the name on a cap matches the power of one's purpose. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
Now for the news, we begin with multiple new developments regarding the outbreak of avian flu in dairy cattle. USDA issuing a federal order this week to try and stop the spread of H5N1 in dairy cattle and develop a baseline for limiting transmission. Part of it goes into effect on Monday. It requires that prior to interstate movement, all lactating dairy cattle must receive a negative test for the influenza A virus. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack says testing will then be expanded to all cattle.
Owners of herds in which dairy cows test positive for interstate movement will be required to provide biological information, including animal movement tracing. And dairy cattle that does in fact move interstate will have to adhere to the conditions established by APHIS in the guidance that will be published tomorrow.
We really believe that following the recommendations and requirements that come out from our federal and state animal health officials are appropriate. They are the brain trust for our response to this and making sure that we do our best as the dairy industry to maintain and protect the health of our dairy cattle in all 50 states.
Owners of herds where dairy cattle tested positive will be required to provide epidemiological information, including movement tracing. And all labs and state vets must report testing results to APHIS. Vilsack says these steps are necessary after confirming the virus is spread from birds to cows and from cow to cow. However, they found no changes to the virus, making it more transmissible to people. He says FDA and the industry will also be increasing testing throughout the food chain. That's after virus fragments were detected in milk in the commercial supply. However, officials say those fragments are not live or infectious after pasteurization or cooking, making meat and milk safe to eat. We'll have more from one of the labs that helped discover those fragments and why consumers can feel safe about the milk they drink. That's coming up in Chip's Corner. Also from USDA, it's officially announcing new nutrition standards for school meals. The new standards will limit added sugars for the first time. Those limits on foods such as cereals, yogurt, and flavored milk will start next year. And by 2027, added sugars will be limited to no more than 10% of total calories per week in school meals. The National Milk Producers Federation thanking USDA for keeping low-fat flavored milk in schools under the program. The new rule also trims sodium in kids' meals. Officials say the updates will also make it easier for schools to access locally sourced products, benefiting both schools and the local economy. The program serves breakfast to more than 15 million students and lunch to nearly 30 million children each day. By Memorial Day, that's when Republicans on the House Ag Committee say they will have a markup of the new Farm Bill. Officials saying on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the bill will strengthen the farm safety net, national security, and conservation spending, all without cutting SNAP benefits. House Ag Committee Chairman G.T. Thompson saying recently that of the 435 members of Congress, over half have never debated or voted on a farm bill before, calling that a unique challenge that requires a lot of education to bring people up to speed. So when could we see a farm bill finally passed? Results from the April Ag Economist's Monthly Monitor this week shows not a single ag economist thinks we'll see a farm bill passed in 2024. 40% think it could be the first half of next year. Nearly 50% say the second half of 2025, and some economists even think it could be as far out as 2026. An update to a case involving an Arizona rancher accused of killing a migrant on his property, a judge declaring a mistrial. 75-year-old George Allen Kelly was charged with a second-degree murder in the shooting death of a migrant. The shooting happened in January of last year on Kelly's property near the border. Prosecutors said Kelly recklessly fired 9 shots from a rifle toward a group of men, including the individual that was killed. Kelly has said he fired warning shots in the air, but he did not shoot directly at anyone. Jurors were not able to reach a consensus on the shooting. A hearing will be held the next week to see if the Santa Cruz County Attorney's Office wants to retry the case. All right, that's it for the news. Severe weather this weekend and more planting delays. We'll have a check of your forecast coming up next.